All right, welcome back, everybody, to the Quill and Query podcast. My name is Brandon Hall. As always, I am joined today by my wonderful co-host Ash. Ash, how are you doing today?
It's just one of those Tuesdays, Brandon. How are you?
I feel like every Tuesday I try to find a new way to say that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I'm just gonna go with same. And
Sure. Some weeks,
yeah,
Tuesdays are hard. Tuesdays, it's like after the Monday catch up from the weekend, and then Tuesdays tend to be like, at least in my job, like everyone's trying to prep for the week ahead almost, because on
hmm
Monday they're catching up from weekend stuff, so it tends to be a little bit more like exhausting. So
yeah,
anyway, it's not necessarily bad, just you know, brain numbing. Yeah.
yeah, for sure. I'm definitely experiencing a lot of brain fog today. So apologies, bear with me.
Yes. Bear with
Um,
us, yeah.
yeah, bear with us. We've got a fun little mini episode for everyone today. It's a continuation of a previous one we did where we're going to be discussing more fantasy tropes and giving our thoughts on some that you may be familiar with. But before we get into that, Ash, doing any reading lately? Any books keeping you busy?
Yeah, so I had a really good January reading month. I think I read 4 books in totality. This one's chalking up to be a bit slower only because I've been focusing on writing more than I did in January.
hmm
But I'm currently in the middle of reading The Fox and the Devil by Kirsten White. It comes out in March. It's like a sapphic vampire. I think I mentioned this last time too, but it's pretty good so far. I think I'm about 75% done. So yeah, it's nice. It's just like a pretty chill, easy read. What about you? You reading anything?
No, not at the moment. I'm trying to decide what series I'm gonna start from
Mm,
my TBR because I'm in that like period where I've just finished one, so
mm,
now I need to pick which what how big of a commitment do I want? Like, do I want to go with a
yeah.
10 book series or a trilogy, a standalone? So I'm
Interesting.
kind of in that phase right now,
Yeah.
deciding how much of a commitment I want to make to something at the moment. I think I
Yeah.
might go with a standalone because I have a bunch of those that I have not checked off the list yet. So I
Yeah.
think
That's nice.
that's gonna be
I
like my
think
palate cleanse.
I like that. I'm trying to think of the ones that I have. I have quite a few. Like maybe I don't know. Is did you ever read The Black Tongue Thief?
I did not, but I just heard good things about that one from my brother, so
Yeah. I
it's
don't.
on the list.
Is it a series?
I'm not
I don't know.
entirely sure because I've only ever heard of the first book. So
Yeah. Anyway, it's on my TBR. I started it and then really liked it and then just like never finished it. So I have so many to read. But anyway, let us know next episode what you choose to
for
read.
sure, I'm trying to get clarification on. Okay, well, Goodreads isn't any
Here,
help on this.
I think I can.
Oh, okay. There's a book zero, a book one, and then a planned book two.
I see. Okay.
Gotcha.
That's cool though. I like that. I've heard really good things and it's got good reviews.
Yeah, yeah. That maybe I'll pick that up. That
There you
might have
go.
spurred me in the you know
Fate.
decision making direction.
Excellent. Have you done any writing of late?
I'm gonna skip that
No.
question for now. No,
Fair enough.
I've been slacking in reading and writing. I've just being sick threw me off like of
Yeah.
my whole routine that I had been doing really good with, and so I'm just trying to get back into the groove with everything. Which it's such a long process for me when something
Hmm.
like that happens. Like
Yeah.
even if I'm only sick for 2 weeks, it takes me like a month to get back on schedule with
Yeah.
everything.
I
So
totally. It's very
my
disruptive.
writing has fallen behind a little bit, but
That's all right.
fingers crossed we will be caught back up over the weekend. So,
Yes. Fingers crossed. Are you doing anything for Valentine's Day?
aside from trying to find a place that is not already fully booked, it's so allow me to go on a non-bookish rant for a minute.
Yeah.
I
Tell us
thought
more.
I thought a week in advance was enough time. It was last year, but apparently this year I
Oh.
was slacking. All of the places worth setting a reservation at are fully booked the entire day.
Dang.
There was one place that for some reason would allow you to reserve bar seating at like 3 p.m. and I was like, that's not what I'm not doing
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
but yeah, so I thankfully I did find something. I was able to make something work.
Oh,
But yeah,
nice.
it was a fun process. Took me a few hours to.
Yeah. No,
How
it's
about you guys?
yeah, I like a month ago I made it. We have a spot that we really
See,
like that we
you
only
did the right thing.
yeah. Well, I am the planner. But also I just like know they're notorious for filling up. It's like a
Mhm.
local hole in the wall Italian spot that's genuinely like some of the best in the city. So
Very
I was like,
nice.
I just knew for a fact. And when I went in, he was like, we have a 7:30 and a 9 left. So I was like, thank God I came in and asked
Yeah.
before. But actually, the circus is in town too. So we're going to
Oh,
go
very cool.
to the circus. No animals. Don't worry
Hmm.
for those. I just made sure that there were no animals involved. But it's more like a Cirque du Soleil kind of a thing.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, that's like a couple hours and then we go right into dinner. So we're gonna have an easy night. I think I'm gonna convince him to watch Hamnet too, because I know that's like a
Yeah.
romance movie. Haven't seen it. I'm a huge into I know I've said this before, but I'm like a huge sucker for any kind of holiday, whether it be
Yeah.
like Valentine's Day or Mardi Gras, which is we're celebrating that on Sunday. So
Yeah.
anyway, just yeah, but should be pretty low key, pretty quiet.
I honestly can't remember the last time I've been to a circus. It's yeah, probably bordering on like 20 years. I was
Yeah.
single digits. um,
Yeah, it's like a huge tent. It's like a classic, like
yeah.
big top circus tent situation. And it's Ross was driving, and he's like, he calls me. I think the circus is in town. I was like, what? That's the craziest thing I've heard. And sure
That's
enough,
awesome.
it's got good reviews. So looking forward to it.
Yeah. You'll have to share your thoughts on Hamnet. It's on my to
Yeah,
watch list. I have not gotten to it yet. So
yeah, I've heard it's pretty devastating. So I'm just like, oh
yeah.
yeah, nothing like a devastating romance on your. I think this will be 10 years for us for Valentine's Day. So
Oh, congratulations! That's a good
or maybe
milestone.
9. Yeah, 9 or 10. Anyway, yeah. At this point, you're just like, don't keep track
Yeah, I know
anymore.
what you mean.
Yeah. Anyway, shall we talk about books and tropes now?
Yeah, for actually, I do have one quick thing to spotlight.
Oh, sure.
It's not a indie book release, but our one of our previous interview guests and good friend Michael Malwassel is organizing a book event in Statesboro, Georgia. It's going to be at the Two Story Books Coffee House, I think is what it's called.
I love that.
I'll repost the details for everybody. I think they still have spots for two vendors, and I know just from some of our writer circles that some people are in the same area. So I wanted to
Yeah.
share that with anyone who's interested in attending either as a vendor or a guest. You can find the details. I'll repost after this episode Michael's posts with all the
Cool.
deets. But I told him I'd give him a little shout out for that because I was
Yeah.
originally gonna go as a vendor, but I couldn't make it work in time. So
Dang. Next
yeah,
time.
yeah,
Hopefully it's
next
a
time.
success. It's a little too far for me personally, or else I'd be there.
Yeah, I
Uh,
think it's only about like 2 hours from me, which is why I was
oh,
trying to make it
nice.
work. It just timing and everything isn't
Yeah.
lining up. But to anyone else who goes, I might end up going as a guest. So maybe
Yeah.
you'll see me there.
Do it. That'd be fun. You can take Quill and Query live.
Yeah,
You
for
could do
sure.
like one of those interviews where like you're like, "What's your least favorite trope?" You know, and they're
Yeah,
just like,
that's a
"What's
good
your
idea.
overrated
Maybe we'll do that.
overrated author?" Yeah, you totally should. I
I'll have to
mean,
buy a portable mic, but
a
yeah.
lav mic. Those are pretty easy. I think they've got like the ones that you can just attach to your phone now, or you can do like the
Oh
funny
yeah, like
like where
the
you.
TikTok one.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah, yeah, yeah.
cool.
Very cool.
All right, now we can move on to the tropes.
Why don't you here? Let's mix it up. Just
Okay.
why don't you pick your least favorite from this list, and we'll
Oh,
start
okay.
there.
Let's see. Oh, this is hard because I think a lot of the ones here that we're going to talk about today I actually like,
Okay.
but there I guess least favorite out of them has got to be. I'm going to go with one that might be surprising given my favorite series, but we're going to do the asterisk that this doesn't really apply to my favorite series, but anything new that I'm picking up,
Okay.
and that's going to be dragons. So
Hmm.
I love dragons. I want to get that out of the way. They're great. They're very cool, and I think they've been done well many times. I just don't think that a lot of the new iterations of them that I see bring anything new or interesting
Yeah.
to the table, and so that's kind of why it's on my. I'm choosing this one as my least favorite, just because it's one of those things that I'm just kind of tired of now. Unless someone can give me an example of, a book where someone's doing something new and exciting with dragons. I kind of roll my eyes a bit when I see a fantasy series with dragons now, just because in anticipation of it's just going to be similar to these other 90 books I've already read.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know if you have a similar experience with dragons, but that's kind of where I'm at with them at the moment.
Yeah, I am also like a huge dragon fan, so much so that
Hmm.
I get annoyed at Game of Thrones because they're like dragons, and I'm like, technically these are wyverns, but whatever. um, but no, I like love a dragon. My coworker was saying that what was it the other day? She was like, "Dude, do you remember Aragon?" And I was like, "Ah, love
Yeah.
that series. I like them a lot." Also, Anne McCaffrey's Dragon Riders of Pern. It was like the last
Hmm.
time I think I read a really fresh take because it's like hers is a bit more sci-fi in
Yeah.
that regard. It takes place on a different planet, and these are more wyvern-esque. But yeah, I totally agree with you. I think honestly, like the last fresh take on it was like How to Train Your Dragon, in my
Yeah.
opinion, that I have read. I'm sure there are some out there that I
Hmm.
haven't or I don't know about, or I'm sure hey group chat, if you could tell us some good hot fresh takes on the
Yes,
genre, that would
please.
be a great thing. But no, I think the yeah, I think what's her face, Fourth Wing really did a number on the genre,
Yeah.
or the trope, not the genre, but the trope rather. I kind of agree with you. It's just like a little overdone at this point, and I haven't read anything that has really compelled me. um I also just think that now they've just become a bit of a cliche. So
Yeah.
it's like people think fantasy equals dragons, and it's like, oh yeah, I don't really have any. Yeah, I haven't read anything exciting of late in that
Yeah.
regard. So,
I actually do have a follow up question because I never read Fourth Wing. Did
mm.
you? Did you read it? Did you DNF it? I don't remember.
Oh, I read it unfortunately
Like
all the
all the
way
way through.
through,
Okay.
but I stopped after that. I refused to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Now,
do remember you didn't particularly like it, if I remember correctly.
mm-mm. So before I go into that, I will say the Priory of the Orange Tree is the last time that I was like I thoroughly enjoyed uh the dragon trope.
Hmm.
Because like dragons were obviously and are included, but at least the ones that you see pretty frequently are like an East Asian style or East Asian influenced, which is
Yeah.
definitely more rare.
Hmm.
Um, and so that's a really great. I mean, it's a huge novel, and I haven't read the second one yet, but I think they did really well because they did more like politicking of it all. And anyway, that is the last kind of like good dragon story that I read. But yeah, with Fourth Wing, and I'm sure I'll get some haters on this one. I just those of you who listen know I love romantasy. I love a good like easy genre read. It doesn't have to be complex, but I need consistency and I need a solid enough plot that plot holes are rare and few and far between, and that I'm not like, what the hell does this mean? Like
Yeah.
every chapter. Um, it was just poorly edited and I hated every second of it. I went in like super stoked because of course for we are fantasy people. I'm like, oh,
Hmm.
dragons like an academy style thing. I loved Harry Potter growing up. Like seems like the perfect mix of everything, and it just like failed miserably on every single point. Not to shame the girlies who love it, but yeah, I hated it
Yeah.
and I refused to read the others.
So the dragons in Fourth Wing, they're not. Are they sentient? Like, do they
Mm-hmm.
speak? Are they intelligent?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Okay.
they like there's essentially like a process where the students, when they hit like a certain capability, are able to go and either get chosen or like they get eaten,
Hmm.
or they are riderless or dragonless, and then they just kind of become backdrop characters.
Okay.
um,
Gotcha.
and of course our main character gets the biggest and baddest,
Yeah. Of
and
course.
then also gets like a second. Sorry if this is spoilers to people. It's been out
I'll
for a
put
few
a
years now,
disclaimer.
so I don't. Yeah. um, but like then she gets a second dragon, and then the dragon that she like the big bad is like married or like connected to like the guy she's fucking, like his
Yeah.
dragon, they're like paired. It's just too obvious. I'm
Yeah.
like, there's just no tension anywhere at all, and also of course she gets the big bad. um
They should give her
yeah,
the smallest dragon. That would be
You would think.
Like
Well,
you'd
she
be
does.
underdog.
She
Oh,
also gets the smallest dragon. She
oh,
both
okay,
gets the smallest and the biggest.
gotcha. Because I was thinking, give her the small dragon, and then it's like a House of the Dragon situation where she's up against these bigger dragons, and it's
Yes. Yes.
the stakes are higher. But
Yeah.
I don't know
Which is
anything. I've never read Fourth Wing, so I'm just
no, you would think like that would be, in my opinion, a much more compelling. Everything's kind of handed to
yeah.
her in a way, and like no one really knows like what the fuck is going on in this storyline. Like there's like this history, and there's this war, and there are these bad people, but then you're like, okay, like tell me more. Like what's the catalyst? Why do we hate each other? Like what's going
Hmm.
on? And she adds griffins into it, which is really cool. Like griffins do not get nearly enough action in the
Yeah,
fantasy
I think
world.
griffins are way underutilized.
I agree.
They're
I
so
love
cool.
that. They're so cool. So when I learned that that was going to be like in the second book, you kind of get a little bit of it at the end. I was like, this still isn't compelling enough for me to like give it a shot. It's just um Throne of Glass does have like wyverns in it, and that's fun because he's the smallest and the most beaten up out of
Hmm.
everybody, and then ends up being like the most powerful witch chooses him because they have a connection, and that's like just generally a more compelling story. Anyway,
Yeah.
yeah, I agree with the dragons. I agree.
All right. Well, is there a trope from this list that's remaining that's your least favorite?
I think this might be a shocking one for people, but I'm a little tired of prophecies. I think I'm tired of prophecies. I think they're just overutilized now, and there's like
Hmm.
always has to be some like mythical reason. I get why that they are used as a trope. They can be like really compelling. Um, but sometimes I think prophecies are too relied upon to then allow for a weak plot. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, it's if you're gonna have a prophecy, it needs to also be a challenge, right? It's just not something to be fulfilled. It, like in my mind, prophecy should be dangerous and like kind of obscure, and you never really quite know the answer,
Yeah. Yeah.
and like what if this? But I have a couple. I say this, and I have like a couple prophecies in mind, but they're like old prophecies that
Hmm.
then they like ask questions about or like are curious about, but they never actually play. Yeah, they just like never play into anything just because of the way the world is built. So yeah, tired of that. Also, a lot of
Yeah.
people just like don't know how to write a compelling prophecy. You know
Hmm.
what I mean? So yeah.
So to elaborate on that, what makes it compelling versus not compelling for you? If it's something you're able to articulate, I know those can be difficult. But
Yeah. I think, and again, I with all the caveats and all the asterisks and whatever, the
yeah.
thing about like the Harry Potter prophecy, like one can't live while the other survives kind of concept, and then knowing that like not just Harry Potter but another character also applied to that prophecy, they were just like chosen on
Hmm.
accident, like it was almost like a mistake. Things like that where it's like it doesn't have to strictly apply to one character and can be expounded upon, um and it carries a thread throughout the entire story. I feel like oftentimes when I read like a story with a prophecy in it, for a while it becomes like the obsession, but then it like loses traction and you kind of forget that there is a prophecy.
Hmm.
Um and so I like those that like really carry it across, but then like the interpretation is very loose and that creates its own tension.
Yeah.
I don't think I have a good story or a good novel recently that's really done that. I'm trying to think. Done that justice. Yeah, I can't really think of anything of like maybe it's just because I kind of stray away from like
Yeah.
it was foretold a long time ago, It's like okay.
Yeah.
But like ancient prophecies can be fun, but then like as long as it's done well and it provides enough tension and like trickery so that it's not just like an easy guideline for the characters to then follow like okay, this is part one of the prophecy and it is fulfilled. Yeah. And then it goes
Yeah.
on into the next. I don't know if any of that made sense, but
No. Yeah. I follow.
yeah.
I think for me, I do tend to like prophecies that are up to interpretation,
Hmm.
like there where it's never in. quite clear. You can take it several different ways, and I
Yeah.
on top of that, like in A Song of Ice and Fire, for example, when characters kind of use it to meet their own or to their own ends, if that
Mm-hmm.
makes sense. Like
Yeah.
Melisandre with Stannis,
Mm-hmm.
and things like that. I think I like it when it's done kind of along those lines.
Mm-hmm.
I don't really think I yeah I don't really do a lot of writing prophecies. So like I'm okay reading them, but it
Yeah.
doesn't really factor into the
Yeah.
plots that I've come up with so far.
Yeah.
I
There's a
don't and
prophecy in my short story that I wrote, and I
mhm,
use that as like the trope as a way to be like, you don't have to fucking follow the prophecy at all,
yeah.
like, kind of a thing. But yeah. Sorry, continue. I interrupted you.
No, I was at the end of my thought. It was
Okay.
pretty concise.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not really a conscious decision. I just don't really
Yeah.
gravitate towards writing them, I guess.
I like the maybe I should clarify. I like a folklore kind of prophecy
Hmm.
concept of like you go to a witch and then something weird happens and then you're like, is this like real? Like what's
Yeah.
going on here? But kind of the more lofty high fantasy prophecies, I'm just like, okay. I don't to rephrase, I haven't read a well done prophecy series recently. So I'm just kind of like, not my thing.
Yeah. All right, let me see which trope I've got next. Okay, I think I'm
Yeah.
gonna do. I think we can do the two magic related
Okay.
tropes we've got. I'm
I
gonna
like
kind
this.
of stitch them together since I think they're both pretty similar.
Yeah.
Let's start with loss of magic. So in some fantasy worlds, a lot of times we enter at a state where magic isn't really as prevalent as maybe it used to be, or
Mm-hmm.
vice versa. So that this is what that trope is referring to, like over time, magic becoming less and less prevalent, maybe in favor of things like industry or science in some series that I've read. But have you experienced this trope much in your reading, or
Yeah, I think yeah, in quite a few series that I've
Mhm.
read, like a loss of magic or a diminishing of magic is usually like the initial jumping off point, and
yeah,
then over time magic is slowly added or something happens to where like it brings magic back, like the return of the magic
yeah?
trope. Yeah.
I think I do. I like the both of the ones we're going to touch on, but I
Mm-hmm.
do like the loss of magic. I think it creates, like you said, opportunity for it to come back
Mm-hmm.
in interesting ways, and
Yeah.
I think it just it creates a lot of potential for storytelling. I don't really know how to elaborate on it further, but
Mm-hmm.
I do enjoy it. It's I think it's a
Yeah.
good way to handle magic.
It's always interesting how the author too fills the vacuum
Hmm.
of what magic is, like what is left behind after magic. So
Yeah,
at least in a filthy hunger we are in a post magic world, but there's like obvious humanity has taken up and become like the power players since those who had magic lost theirs. And
yeah,
so it's like their turn to kind of subjugate. um and so I think I like that trope a lot because it's like, what do you do after something so maybe powerful or you know controlling is
hmm
gone? Like the power plays afterwards are so interesting, and then like as you said, like how does it come back? Like is it the same as when it disappeared? Is it different? Like who has access to it after it comes back? Like what do you have to do? Is it like pull the lever crunk and then it comes back on, or is it this like it could be a thousand different things? But I like that
yeah.
trope because it just provides like a lot of flexibility for authors to play with it, and it's always
Hmm.
fun when that happens.
Yeah. I think magic is one of our favorite tools as fantasy authors.
Yeah.
It's just so versatile, and there's so many different ways to integrate it into
Yeah.
the world building and the plot. And then you have like the different levels. Like, is magic kind
Mhm.
of waning in this world? Is it coming back? And
Yeah.
our one of our recent guests, Jeffrey Gardner, he writes worlds that are very in tune with magic. Like magic is a big part of
Mhm.
society,
Mhm.
as he said. And so one of the clips we had with him was magic as an equalizer for
Mm.
people who might be less powerful physically, but
Right.
or other things like that. So I think the loss of magic and return of magic tropes can kind of play into that a little bit,
Mm-hmm.
where, like you said, if there's like a power struggle and magic is coming back, how can we use that to our advantage and
Yeah.
things like that. But yeah, I'm a big fan of both of these, loss of
Yeah.
magic and return of magic. They're both really fun.
I'll say one of the caveats for me though, and this plays just into like the genres that I usually read, is I really dislike when in particular a female character has to give up their magic in order
Hmm.
to save the world or save everybody. Sarah J. Maas is a unfortunate user of this trope very heavily, and
Okay.
it's just the most annoying. But at least in a lot of romanticides of the last like 5 to 10 years, heavily utilize that kind of she must give it up or it's stolen from her and she must get it back, but in order to like save her people and or her lover or whatever, she must make the decision to give or not give it up. And at first it's like a good concept. You're like, oh, like what does that sacrifice mean, and like
Hmm.
is there any way for them to end up getting it back? But it's the unnecessary sacrifice of magic that sometimes irks me. It's like maybe it's because I like rules and I'm a huge like, okay, what's the structure of this magic? Like, what can you what do you when you say it's gone? What do you mean by that? And that's very often left up to interpretation. So
Yeah.
if it's the loss of magic as a sacrifice, I need a really good plot to kind of bolster that sacrifice. So that's my
Yeah.
tangent. Yeah.
That's interesting. It sounds like you've encountered like that variation of the trope a lot, and
Yeah.
I don't think I have. Maybe it's because is it really just prevalent? You think in the romanticy you've read, or
Yeah. There's
gotcha?
often like a discovery that you are special, right? It's like the
Hmm.
prophesied child, prophecy,
Yeah.
or whatever, or they stumble upon it and they realize like, oh, this orphan is actually the most important, whatever. But then, like one I just read, like the Night and the Moth kind of plays off of that too, like having to sacrifice all these things for, even though they were things built on a lie. It's just like a constant trope that women are having to like constantly give up or they're tricked or in some way, and I'm just like not sure if that's just the romantasy space because I think it's a compelling use of the trope, but
Hmm.
it's definitely overutilized. It just has started to lack the punch, and also it's
Yeah.
like, what are the reasons for you doing this? Is this a compelling enough reason? It's like, okay, does anyone else also have to give up their magic or their like whatever? Is it just her? It's yeah, it's starting to grate a little bit as a woman, I guess. Just be like,
Yeah. That's
what if we
understandable.
didn't have to do that?
Yeah.
Can we find a cooler way to do this? Like,
Hmm.
yeah. Anyway,
Gotcha. Yeah, I was just curious because I haven't encountered that much, but it seems like you have. So I understand how that would grow old very quickly.
yeah,
After like the second time.
yeah. It's just it's like that coupled with like the training montages of like a woman who's
Mm.
never held a weapon before and
I think
like
we
within
talked
the
about
span.
those in the
Yeah, we
last
did.
trope episode.
Yeah. She's like, okay, girl. And then now you have to give everything up that you just learned. Come on.
Yeah,
This is just like easy. It's a little too lazy, in my opinion. Yeah.
understandable. Well, maybe we can shift gears to a more positive trope. Is there any from the list that you like or that stand out as one of
I
Ash's favorites?
Morally gray characters forever and always will be my
Hmm.
absolute favorite. They're my favorite trope. And when I mean morally gray, I mean actually morally gray. And none of this, again, I keep like harping on romantasy. I love romantasy. I enjoy reading it very much so. But like a lot of the new stuff recently is just like, oh, he's like dark and mysterious. I'm like, no, he needs to, or she needs to make extremely questionable decisions to which you are
Hmm.
like, oh no,
Yeah.
no, this can't, no, you can't do that. Like, I need to be like shocked. And if
Hmm.
not shocked, I need them to make decisions that I'm like, I wouldn't make that decision because that's cutting it close to evil here. I
Yeah.
need there to be like a truly moral issue. We have, yeah, we've gone too far with the Sarah J massification of it all. Of like, oh, he's tall, dark, and handsome, and he makes decisions, and his magic is dark. It's like, no, like
Yeah.
morally gray should mean like you need to question, and your characters need to question, and like really struggle with it. And it can't just be this instant like, well, he's hot, so everything's fine. It's like no, like make make bad decisions, you know,
Hmm.
like decisions that make you go like, this would be a good philosophy discussion, you know. So
Right.
that's how I feel about that. But no, I love a morally gray. I like the lines that they always like question or like try to cross or like toe
Hmm.
the line of, and it is always such like a good reflection back. I think oh my god, I'm blanking on the series. Why am I
Is it on the shelf?
It is on the shelf. Hold on.
No
I'm gonna
worries.
get up and I'm gonna look at it and I'm gonna be like, God, I should have remembered. Hold on. Yes. Okay. The Poppy War.
Oh
Such a
yeah.
good example of like a true, potentially arguably evil main character,
Hmm.
but like a true morally gray female main character where you're like, girl, I understand, but genocide? Do we really want to do that? You
Yeah.
know? So it's just yeah, there are some really good book series that touch on those complicated. It's relatable,
Hmm.
but would I do it? Maybe not. So, what do you think? What do you
Yeah.
think about Morally Gray?
Yeah. I definitely love morally gray characters, but with the caveat, the same as you, that it has to actually be a morally gray character, not,
Yeah.
oh, sometimes he doesn't like finish all his food. I don't know, something
Yeah.
stupid. Like, I feel like a lot of times people say morally gray to define a character who's either, no, they just suck. They're really just an evil person, or the
Yeah.
other side, that there's really not a lot wrong with them.
Yeah. They're just hurt. They're
So
misunderstood. It's like,
yeah,
no, no.
yeah,
Yeah.
no, like it has definitely have to make me question like if I would feel safe around this person or if I would do the same things that they're
Yeah.
doing.
Yeah.
So if they don't do that, I don't really consider it morally gray, even when they're kind of pitched
Mm-hmm.
that way. But no, I love morally complex characters. That's a big
Mm-hmm.
reason I wanted to do Cell Swords as the first anthology theme.
Yeah.
I've always loved like the morally gray area they occupy in fantasy,
Mm-hmm.
where the dubious loyalty and
Yeah.
where does their honor end, and the loyalty to the paycheck begin,
Yeah.
and all of that. So
Speaking of speaking of that, have you been watching The Night of the Seven Kingdoms?
I have not. So I was just. I
Okay.
have to finish. This is a glaring gap in my George R. R. Martin book
Uh-huh.
experience. I don't know what word I'm looking for there, but I have A Night of the Seven Kingdoms on my shelf. I have to finish reading. I'm just going to start it over because I was only a few pages in. I have to read The Hedge Knight, which is what the first season I
Yeah.
think is covering. But
Okay.
I've heard really good things about it, so I'm excited to start that
Yeah.
hopefully soon. I think The Hedge Knight is pretty short, so it shouldn't take me too long to read that.
Mm-hmm. I can
But yeah,
see I can see how it's short because like I'm already like, well, what happens after this? You
yeah.
know,
Have
like
you been
the
keeping up with it
joust.
then?
Oh yeah. Well, we
Yeah,
were a little dubious. We were like, I, I don't think any of the previews did a good job
yeah,
of
yeah.
making it feel compelling enough, and also just being like, oh, is this just like a crap knockoff
Hmm.
of whatever? I knew it came from one of his stories, but I just like, I don't know, it just didn't look like the
Yeah.
other previous series, but it is hilarious
Hmm.
and also truly very good. And I know that, they revealed something last episode where I was like, and I turned to Ross and I was like, this is so and so. And he's like, no way. And I'm like, yeah, dude, this is crazy that this is happening.
Hmm.
Like, cannot believe. So they do a good job of drawing you along and just like hinting at who these people are going to be.
Yeah.
But I'm really curious how it's going to turn out. But everyone on the show has great chemistry. The acting is really great. It is very funny. Like there are a few times we LOL'd.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. I
I'm
know
enjoying it.
the Duncan Egg novellas are a little more
Yeah,
lighthearted, I think.
yeah,
But yeah, it's unfortunate that the timing with this series, because it people like A Night of the Seven Kingdoms is probably more loved than anything from Fire and Blood, which was House of the Dragon. So I think after season 8 of Game of Thrones, season 2
mm,
of House of the Dragon, people were a little hesitant to go into A Night of the Seven
yeah,
Kingdoms.
yeah,
But thankfully, it sounds like it's holding up pretty well. And from all the
yeah,
book readers that I've talked to, it's doing really good. So I'm excited
yeah.
to dive into it.
No, it's genuinely holding up pretty well, considering it's not as like action packed. I mean, it is,
Mm-hmm.
but in a very different way. But I was like, this is what they're doing, Ross. They're buttering us up. They're making us laugh. And
Mm-hmm.
then the next season of House of the Dragon is going to come in and destroy us. Like
Yeah.
they're soft launching, like, hey, like enjoy this little treat, and then they're going to chop our heads off. So
Yeah.
you're like, okay, I see what you're doing here, HBO. But yeah, pretty cool stuff. Anyway, it made me think of, you said Head or Morally Gray, like sellsword stuff, and
Mm-hmm.
Sir Dunk is
Yeah.
the good guy, but then you're like, oh, what bad decisions are you going to have to make moving forward? So
Mm-hmm.
anyway, super interesting.
Well, on to another one of my favorite tropes. I'm just gonna get it out right away. Is
Oh, that's
Forgotten
surprising.
Civilizations.
Yeah.
I I really like this one. I know it's definitely probably overdone. It's in a lot of fantasy, a lot of sci-fi as well.
Mm,
But I don't know. I just am a sucker for this trope. I love learning slowly over time about these ancient civilizations that have fallen, what led
mm,
to their destruction, and what useful knowledge are they going to have that's going to play into the plot of
mm,
our current story. And some of this might have to do with the fact that I grew up with Halo, which has a very prominent old ancient civilization called the Forerunners, and
mm.
everyone, I don't know how familiar you are with Halo, but
I
anyone
just know the
who's,
song by heart.
yeah.
Oh, I'm like, as soon as you say hello, I'm like, here we go.
Yeah.
Uh,
But no, it's like so critical to the story, and so that might have something to do with my love for it. But I
mm,
just really like it. I don't think I've really seen it done badly
mm,
yet in any of the series that I've read that do utilize it. Not saying that it can't be done badly, because I'm sure there are plenty of examples out there. I just personally
mm,
haven't experienced any that I haven't liked yet. So,
mm.
what about you? Are you tired of this one, or?
No, actually, I don't really. There are a few. I think the Drowning Kingdoms
Mhm.
trilogy brings that up. Yeah, I don't actually encounter a lot. I So my follow-up question to you before we move on to what I was thinking is there a difference? Well, actually, let me back up. First of all, do you believe in Atlantis, since you're into Forgotten Kingdoms? It's
I
okay if
mean,
you are. There's no judgment.
probably not. I don't think there's.
Got it.
Listen,
All right.
in my fiction, I like them. I don't necessarily subscribe to
Okay.
mythical civilizations, and
Sorry, I just had to pull that out. I was like,
it's okay.
I'm gonna catch him on this one.
Yeah.
So is there a difference between a forgotten and a lost civilization? Because in my mind, like a forgotten civilization is interesting when it is used in fantasy,
Hmm.
particularly if you're like, there are threads of knowledge about like like an old civilization, but everything's been like completely erased,
Hmm.
like forgotten from memory versus a lost, or do you kind of find them
I think
similar?
when I was talking about them, I'm kind of lumping them together.
Okay. Okay.
Um,
Gotcha.
but I mean, yeah, I think there's definitely a distinct difference. For me,
Okay.
personally, I like both. I do like the
Mm,
ones that are going to play into the plot though more though.
mm-hmm.
So maybe I'm leaning more towards Lost Civilization in that sense.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was mostly kind of just lumping them both in the
Gotcha.
same
Is
group there.
is there a series that stands out to you as a good example of what like a good trope, forgotten civilization trope is?
I mean, like I said, all of the ones I've read I've liked, so I'll just. I
Yeah.
mean, the Halo example is probably my favorite one.
Okay. And these are the books, the novels.
It's, I mean, games and books. Yeah,
Mm,
the
mm.
books actually explore the civilization a lot more. I feel like,
Okay.
but I mean, the books came after the games, so I guess yeah,
Got it.
it's that's a tricky question. But I like that this one doesn't really factor into the plot a lot, but I think it still has room to, given that there's two more unfinished books.
Mm,
The old Valyrian civilization in A Song of Ice
mm.
and Fire, I've always found
Yeah.
very interesting. In what is it, in First Law, there is
Mm,
there's I don't really remember what it's called, because it's like it's just the same country that they're already in, but many
mm-hmm.
years past. So yeah, I'm sorry, I'm blanking on some like
No,
really
that's
good
okay.
examples, but
I threw the question out there, and it's totally fine. I don't
Yeah.
think it's a very, at least in what I definitely need to expand my
Hmm.
fantasy reading like in the next few years and just like really get into some like deep like go to a secondhand store and just pick like one of those like old 80s fantasy novels out and just
Yeah.
kind of deep dive because I just don't, off the top of my head, I can't think of like one that I've read in the last few years that
I'm trying
has
to
like
look
this.
over at my shelf to like
Yeah, I
search
know. I
for
keep
good
doing the same
examples.
thing. I'm like, wait. um, yeah, like John Gwynn's like the Shadow. What is it? Shadow of the Gods is kind of like that. Like it's like
Hmm.
the gods themselves have been felled, but then like the places that popped up around them is interesting. Like the lore before
Yeah.
they fell is interesting. But yeah, in terms of like forgotten
Hmm.
like civilization, I just don't think it pops up. You're right, it does pop up more in sci-fi, I think, than anything
Yeah. As
else.
I'm
But
looking over at my shelf, that I'm noticing it's definitely more sci-fi.
yeah.
So I would say the sci-fi examples tie it into the plot more than the fantasy examples that I'm looking at.
Okay.
The ones
Cool.
I'm thinking of for fantasy use it a lot for like world building and things like that,
Yeah.
in history, whereas the sci-fi books that I'm picking up on are it's definitely more intrinsically tied to like what's actually happening with the characters in the plot.
Got it.
Um, but
That's
either
fair.
way, I still like it, whether it's flavor or it.
Oh
I,
yeah.
I especially love it when it ties into the plot. But
Mm-hmm. No, for sure. All
all
right.
right,
Am I
do you want?
next?
Yeah, do you want to pick maybe one more trope for us to
Yeah.
discuss?
I think. Mm, I don't know. I'll pick one that I dislike. I think
Ooh, ending on a
more.
bad note today.
Not a bad note.
No,
I
I'm
just it's
just
like one that I'm not drawn to. Is like the
yeah.
Lost Heir
Okay.
kind of a thing. Um, and I think only because it's been so overused in the
Yeah.
last like 15, 20 years. I think it can be truly so effective. Like, what do you do when the mantle of a kingdom or a civilization falls on your shoulders and you're just like a gutter kid from wherever, like I think
Hmm.
it is truly like it can be done so well, but I'm just genuinely tired of it. It's you know, yeah, I just if it's done well to where it's subversive and it's like what do you do with that weight and do you take it on,
Hmm.
and if you don't take it on, what's at risk, and like all the politics of it all can be so fascinating. um I kind of like I loved the whole like in Game of Thrones the Gendry like kind of plot line where he was like,
Yeah.
right, isn't that his name, where like he was Baratheon's like bastard or something
Yeah.
like that, but he was like such a likable character and him and Arya like really got along. But
Hmm.
then it just kind of fizzled out and you're just like, oh wait, like he's dead, okay, that's fine,
Yeah.
why did we put that in here? But sorry again for spoilers. I'm assuming
That's
people know at
I'm
this
just gonna put a
point.
disclaimer on this
Just
episode that
lots of
it's. I mean,
spoilers.
I figured we were gonna have to dive into some spoilers. So
Yeah. Which I guess is like subversive in its own way, like the lost potential heir, like the last heir of whatever, and
hmm.
then he just like fizzles out. But anyway, I think I'm just tired of that. Sorry for the dog scratches. One
That's
second. Are we done? We can. Thank you. Thanks. Yeah, I'm a little tired of the lost heir.
hmm.
Maybe it coincides, and why I'm so like hard on this one is because it's like it always comes with like this, I'm the lost princess of so and so, and now I have magic. Or I've always
Hmm.
had magic and I've had to keep it undercover. And surprise, I'm the princess queen of this crazy king. It's just kind of
Hmm.
like, all right,
Yeah.
let's try something new. What are your thoughts on The Lost Heir?
I'm kind of mixed on this one. Like, if
Yeah.
it's kind of just done traditionally, I think it's kind of boring. But I do. There are some recent like subversions of the trope that I do really like.
Mm.
The I feel like I cite these books all the time. There's a reason they're my favorite series, but First Law and The
Mm.
Song of Ice and Fire, specifically the books The Song of Ice and Fire, because this plot line was cut from the show, both have a Lost Heir plot line where you're never quite sure if this person is actually the Lost Heir or if it's just politically
Mm.
convenient to
Sure.
frame them that way, and it's used to gain an advantage in
Mm-hmm.
the game of politics.
Yeah.
So I really like that subversion
Yeah.
of it.
Would Jon Snow technically be considered like a lost heir, or is he like a hidden?
Yeah,
Because he's like
I
kept
feel like
secret.
he fits into the trope because he doesn't
Yeah.
know that until the very end.
Right.
So yeah, I think he fits.
Yeah.
But yeah, like in Jon Snow, even as an example, I like how that was done with, again, spoilers, but with how we get this character Ned at the start of the series,
Mm-hmm.
who's pitched to us as the most honorable man in Westeros, but then you hear he cheated on his wife, and
Yeah.
that doesn't quite align. Did he really? And all of this. So I think that's also done really well. I do like the Lost Heir if it's kind of a subversion of the traditional trope, but
Yeah.
if it's just Lost Heir with no like buts, no caveats,
Yeah.
I don't really. I think that's too overdone at this point. It's
Yeah.
kind of a
If it falls too easily into the character's lap is
yeah.
where I always have, I think, the issue with it. Just like yeah, I don't think that's always a problem for me, and I just don't. I think I can't recall any even synopses of books lately where it's like, oh, this heir, like we start the book after the heir has been found, right? Like
Mhm.
there's yeah, very few subversions on the trope of
Yeah,
late. So any writer out there, if you want to do that,
yeah,
let us know.
yeah. I guess that would be spoiler territory. So I'm guessing this is. Feel free to decline to answer. Um, I'm guessing this trope does not play a factor in a filthy hunger, or does it? Or are we not at liberty to say at the moment?
um I think I've talked about it. I think I've
Mhm.
talked about it before. But yes, there's like kind of a the humans think there is a lost heir. There's not actually a lost heir. So
Okay.
if that's like vague enough, I think I can answer that.
See, that
It
sounds
plays in
like the type of subversion of it that I would like. So
yeah.
sorry.
It's like no, that's okay. It's like supposed to be a surprise. And I actually just finished a chapter where it's like, oh, the heir to the Errol, which are like the half magic, half people, whatever,
Mhm.
vanished after his dad was killed, and then like later on they're talking about like a different person, and you have to be like, oh, is that him?
Yeah.
Oh, we'll see. So it's like there's like a gap in knowledge. It's like we don't know where he went. He could be anybody or he could be dead. Who's to say? So that's kind of yeah, I try and do that. And it does play a part in later in the book when you find out what has happened to this person. You're like, oh, it does factor into the plot line, but it's not the main trope, I guess, if that makes sense. So
Yeah.
yeah. But I tried to do it in that way that I'm like, it can't just be like oh, we found him. Wow,
Mhm.
congrats. He's the king now.
Yeah.
Is there any of that in yours?
Um, Without saying too much, sort of, but it's
Okay.
my subversion of it is when you learn about this character, you definitely don't want them to
Mm,
take advantage of that position. So
yeah.
rather than it kind of benefiting, I
Oh,
guess, the
I see.
heroes, it's
Okay.
yeah, that's all I'll say on it. But it's
Got it. Yeah. So it's in there. It is like a
yeah.
trope that you utilize. Okay, cool.
Hmm. Yeah,
That
just
makes sense.
dealing with like monarchy and regicide and stuff. I
Uh,
feel like it just adds to the complex nature of things that are happening a
yeah,
lot. Because
which is fun.
before I felt like the family dynamics were too clean and straightforward for people of that power bracket.
Oh, interesting.
So I had to throw in some scandalous family history in there.
Shocks.
Yeah,
You get when is there not? It's like
yeah,
no
right.
one's that cookie cutter. Come on. Yeah, that's great. I'm excited to eventually read it, and I want to know more.
All right.
All
Well, I
right.
think that's all the fantasy tropes we'll talk about today.
Yeah.
I think there's so many we could keep doing multiple episodes of this. I love talking about the fantasy
I really do
tropes.
too. Yeah. And it's
They're really
also a good
fun.
challenge to be like, hey, find some with these tropes in it. Like find
Hmm.
some series with these that you haven't read lately. So
Yeah,
maybe we'll
yeah,
come back in the future on a mini episode and be like, actually, since then I have read
yeah.
a
I've
book
changed my
series that's
mind
great.
about
Yeah,
the
exactly.
dragons.
Yeah. Love it. I actually think have you ever read Dragon Riders of Pern by Anne
I have
McCaffrey?
not. No,
Not to add to
that's
your
an older
TBR.
series, right?
Yeah, it was like I think it was in the 80s. Yeah, and then I think her daughter has taken up the mantle thus
Gotcha.
far.
Oh, so
Um,
it's is it still going?
I think it was a few years ago. I dropped off after like the first three. I just stopped. It
Gotcha.
was like required reading in my household. My dad was like, "You must read this. You can't read any other series until you read this." Which I'm glad I did. I need to reread
Mhm,
it because high school me was like, I loved it, but a
mhm.
lot of it went over my head. I think you would really like it. It's very Game of Thrones esque, but like sci-fi wyverns and dragons and
Yeah,
stuff. It's
I'll
really
definitely
really
have to
good.
check it out because
Yeah,
I've been kind of itching to get back to like some older fantasy lately
yeah,
after
yeah.
reading so many modern ones. I don't know, palette cleanse,
Hmm.
feeling nostalgic. So
Yeah, no, totally. There's like something about like the 80s fantasy that they really went in like hard on like
mhm.
at least the dungeon fantasies are
Yeah,
super like interesting. What was I thinking? Oh, A Spell for Chameleon is
oh, I've
also
not
a
heard of
good
that
one.
one.
Oh, what is the name of the blanking on the author, but it's like a whole series about it's kind of funny. It's definitely technically high fantasy based on was it Jeffrey's
Yeah,
rendition of it, but like kind of comical at the same time, very much labyrinth esque. But yeah, it's also a good. It's a good one. I need to reread it actually.
yeah.
My mom was like, "Should we have Ella reread?" Or should my sister, who's 12, should we have Ella read A Spell for Chameleon? And I was like, I think she should. But then my dad was like, no, no, that's too adult for her. I'm like, I was the same age when I was reading that. What do you mean? But times change. Times
Yeah,
change. So anyway, all right. Well, that's it.
yeah. That's all the fantasy tropes we got for today. I know we've had one or two people hanging out in chat, but they haven't said anything, so I don't
Oh,
know if we're gonna
hey
get
guys.
any. Yeah, hello, mystery viewers.
Hi.
I don't know if we're going to get any questions, but if anyone's watching this on YouTube after the fact and you have any,
Yeah.
whether it be fantasy tropes you want us to discuss the next time we do this topic or any other future topic suggestions, be sure to let us know.
Yeah. And as always, please tell us what you do and do not like, what you want to hear, what you want to learn about. We're going to have some cool new things coming up, just like new segments and things that we're going to
Mm-hmm.
try out to see if people like it. A little bit more fun stories about stuff. So yeah, let us know. And the more followers we get, the more engagement we get, the closer we get to doing like a Discord
Mm-hmm.
or book club. So keep listening and keep sharing. And thanks for doing those things anyway. That's all I got.
Yeah, super excited for all our Quill and Query plans for the year and all the
Yeah.
exciting segments and plan okay, plans that we have for the year. Sorry,
Your brain was like,
it's
we're done. We're
yeah.
done for the day. Yeah. No,
My
I feel that.
brain's already clocked out. It's
Yeah.
all right. Well, thanks again,
All right.
Ash, for
Thanks, Brandon.
deep diving the fantasy tropes with me.
Yeah. We'll
All
see
right.
you next time. Bye,
See you
y'all.
guys.
See ya.